Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Halftime with K Bizzy. And man, oh man, am I excited to bring this one to you guys today. We have formerly known as Mantrousse, currently known as Pala, the GOAT. He used to be pretty involved with YouTube. I'm sure, I don't even know why I'm introducing this guy as if none of you know who he is. Everyone knows who Pala is, for crying out loud. But Pala went from being a YouTuber and he ended up making that work for himself. He started going to a lot of tournaments and stuff like that. And, you know, today kind of explained a little bit how, you know, it just kind of began to be a little too much after a while, too much, you know, editing and stuff like that. So he ended up, you know, falling back from that a little bit. You see him doing a lot of desk work and, you know, being part of the broadcast talent at some of these huge events that we love and watch every year. When you watch him early on in his career and you see his YouTube videos and stuff like that, really entertaining, really cool. And then fast forward to now, you see him, you know, as part of the broadcast talent, and like the development's just been really cool. So, you know, to have him on here and kind of talk about all that was really, really cool. And another one of the people that I remember very early on into me playing Counter-Strike would watch him on YouTube, him and Mojo for sure. You know, his donation trolling videos, classics, dude. He's so fucking funny. So I'm really glad that we got to do this today. You know, and I gotta give him a lot of respect too, because our schedules didn't really line up. He's also like, I think 6 hours ahead of me. So it was a little bit hard to kind of, you know, work that out. But since around the Shanghai Major, we've been talking. So he kept his word, and, you know, he was working with me the whole time and like, oh, let's see if this date works. So I got to give him nothing but love. You know, he really wanted to do this. And yeah, I can't thank him enough. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing. You know, we're getting real close to 500, and that'd be pretty cool to hit pretty early on in 2025. So let's look forward to that. Yeah, I think that's about it. We'll catch you guys on the outro. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy. Hey.
What's up, bro?
Not much, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Head's a bit sore. Fine, man. I'm fine.
Good to hear, man. Well, not the whole head hurting thing, but
it happens sometimes. It's fine.
Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. And I know we had a little bit of trouble with our scheduling. You know, our time zones are completely different, but you know, I'm stoked that you were down to help make this happen. So I appreciate it a ton.
No, I'm hyped, bro. Should be fun. Always nice to chat. And yeah, as you said, we've been trying to do it for a while, and it's nice to finally get it done. So excited, bro.
Yeah, and I know sometimes people are probably like, oh my God, this is like annoying to deal with. And, you know, you were still super down to do it. So, like, all the power to you, man. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, bro. No, I mean, I think that should be, I'd hope most people would treat it the same, you know, try to get it done and figure things out. And yeah, just happy that we're doing it, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Alrighty, so we got
ready whenever. Hey, Bizzy.
We have a very interesting episode upon us today. I'm not sure how many people had this on their bingo card, so hopefully this is a surprise to some people. Let's start with your roots. Like, what's the whole story on how you got started playing Counter-Strike? I like to talk about this, you know, before anything else, because it's the most important part of why any of us even, you know, are here doing this.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's pretty simple, man. Always been a gamer, like my whole life. Probably was first playing video games when I was like, I don't know, 7, maybe 6 or 7. In like 2004, it's when Half-Life 2 came out, and it came out in a set called the Orange Box, and it came. Wait, how old are you?
I'm 25. I've heard of the Orange Box.
Exactly. If you see me lean down like this, by the way, K Bizzy never, it's just because I'm petting my dog.
Okay.
Yeah. And Counter-Strike Source was free on it. I wasn't aware of that at the time. I think it was Counter-Strike Source and Team Fortress 2. And yeah, I was playing Half-Life 2, having loads of fun. One of the best games ever. And then my friend that had also got Half-Life 2 at the time, or the Orange Box, pardon me, said, oh, you know, there's this other game on it comes included. It's called Counter-Strike Source. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he told me like a tiny bit about it. Oh, it's like shooting, it's team, like, because we'd played Call of Duty before and stuff on PC. And one thing stood out to me was like, oh, you can't move and shoot. And I was like, what? Like at the time, like if you'd had no contact with CS, that seemed extremely bizarre. And so that piqued my interest. And then, yeah, just tried it, played public matches and just learnt the game a bit, then learnt about the competitive scene. And back then I would join these things called like mix vents, like Ventrilo. You'd go on, Ventrilo. I don't know if people still use Ventrilo, but like, as in like TeamSpeak type thing, and you'd go on, you'd join a channel, other people join, you just do like random mixes online. Yeah, random pugs online. That's how I first started playing CS.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you started playing, was this like, what kind of impact did this have? Was this just like, oh, I'll play it after school, it's something to do, or was this like, holy shit, I can't get enough of this game?
I was super into it. Yeah, I didn't have any dreams or like in terms of like playing to like some high level. I was just trying to get good and play the pugs, and I lightly followed the competitive scene. Like a couple years after that, like I'd heard of names like Henry G and old 1.6 pros like Spawn. Like his YouTube then came up at the same time, like 2006 or whatever. People would upload frag videos and stuff, and you'd learn a bit about the history and stuff. Um, and yeah, I played a lot. But with no specific goal or whatever in mind. I was just playing random pugs and enjoying the game, and just thought it was really cool.
This episode of Halftime with K Bizzy is brought to you in part by PriceEmpire.com. PriceEmpire.com is absolutely loaded with essential tools for any skin enthusiast. Whether it be their blog, their price comparison app, the trending deals, or your personal inventory tracker, I mean, Price Empire really has it all. PriceEmpire.com is trusted by more than 1 million users on Trustpilot to ensure everybody that it is a fair and legit website. PriceEmpire.com is linked in the description. Go step your skins game up today. Yeah, and I think that's what I feel like that's what a lot of us think too. Like when we first start playing, like there's just something about Counter-Strike. Like for me anyway, it's like no other game really grabbed me like Counter-Strike did, and it just 10 years later it still hasn't let go, and it's not letting go anytime soon. I don't know what it is. It's just so awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't know exactly what it is either. If we were to like, theorize a bit, it could be because of how well it works as like a competitive game. I think most of us growing up, maybe this is changing a bit now, but as in most of us growing up playing games, you're just playing games for fun, and then maybe you play some games where you're fighting like other people or whatever, and then you realize, oh, there's like a competitive edge to it, and you sort of get into that a bit, and then you try CS, and it's sort of like one of the pinnacle versions of that style of gaming, competitive gaming.
Yeah.
And if you're into that type of thing, then yeah, it sinks its claws into you, and there's nothing really like it. No.
Yeah, and then there's the whole skill ceiling too, like you can play the game very simply, or you can like really push the limits
Yeah.
and be really advanced with it. It's really
Yeah.
diverse like that.
Yeah, I can't speak to that too much with how it is for people that age now, as I was then, that were like 13, 14. Sort of what it's like discovering something like that. What are the other things that maybe they're playing that are similar? But at least for me at the time, it's like, yeah, there was absolutely nothing like it. And as you said, with the skill ceiling, sort of relating back to what I mentioned before about, yeah, you start playing the game, and then you start finding like materials on it and some videos on the internet, and then you're like, what, spray? Like there's a pattern to the spray, and oh, and yeah, where you starter stepping, blah blah blah, and yeah, like there was nothing like that, at least for me at the time, and I would still say like there's nothing quite like it, and yes, one of the reasons that we all love CS, like how unique it is, and the skill floor, the skill ceiling, etc.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to kind of talk about like when I first encountered you when I was probably about, I don't know, like probably 15.
Yeah.
It was very apparent. I don't know how it probably just popped up on my my front page on YouTube, and I just clicked on it. And it was very quickly that I started watching you and Mojo, and I would just on the weekend just binge watch the hell out of everything you guys would ever do.
Yeah.
So you guys made it very apparent that you guys were really close friends, and I've always been curious. This is more for a me kind of question, but how did you guys meet and like how did you guys get to be that close? Because it seemed like
Bro.
the chemistry was just amazing.
Yeah, man. I mean, we still speak here and there. We're still in touch, bro. Good guy. Man, it was something like I can't remember the exact initial contact. If it was like he left a comment on one of my videos or something like that, because I'd started like just a bit before him or something, or I've been going for I don't know, bro. Again, we're going like 10 years back now.
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
crazy, but more than 10 years, perhaps. I can't remember if we first spoke in 2014 or 15. Um, but it was as he was starting YouTube and doing well, and we got in contact at some point. I can't remember if it was like we end up friends on Steam or he left a comment on like one of my videos, and then we got in contact, and then yeah, we spoke a bit, and then after like some period, we decided to record some stuff together. So I know that's vague, but it's something like that. Nothing particularly like
Nothing out of the ordinary.
no, nothing out of the ordinary, like some big secret. Just two people that met online, and we're both doing similar content around the same game, and linked up, and yeah, we made some funny videos together, man. They're good times for sure.
Yeah, man, I'll never forget. Like, just I don't know, dude. On the weekends, no school, no nothing. Start the morning off, fire up YouTube, get some Mantrousse and some Mojo going. That was
Some,
peak, man.
some Mantrousse emoji. Give me one sec, cause let me see if I can. Because we were literally talking just like a week ago. We touch in with each other, probably like a few times a year, every couple months or something. Like, how's it going, or like, what are you up to? Like he messaged me out the blue the other day. Let me screenshot it and then cut out the other bits.
Oh, here we go.
He like messaged me out of the blue, and
Oh my
it's like a
god.
thumbnail from the first video which we recorded together, where we're like at Face It, London 2015 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just
but funny you
randomly.
mention it. Yeah, yeah. No, and then we were talking about some other stuff, like what we're both up to, just catching up, basically.
That's
Um,
crazy.
so yeah, with regards to Mojo and stuff, it's funny. Yeah, he pinged me that the other day about some of our old videos or whatever.
Yeah, man. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Will we ever see that again? Will we ever see you guys cross paths on YouTube again?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, bro. It's like, obviously, neither of us are like actively creating content at the moment on YouTube or streaming on Twitch. But I mean, I can't speak for him or anyone else. Like from the old. What would you say? I hate the phrase, but like what OG squad of like CS
Hey,
YouTube.
it's
But
true.
yeah, I can't speak for him or anyone else. But I always consider it in my head. But it's about like finding a way to do it again that's sustainable. Because my work for now since the end of 2017 has been I chose to be full time in presenting at CS events primarily, and also other gaming stuff. But in the back of my head, I've always thought like, yeah, it'd be cool to do videos again. But it's finding a way to do it sustainably, bro. Because like, mate, I went ham back in the day with like how like deep I was like creating content, and like how much time I was spending on it. To make it from nothing to something, it's like it requires a lot. And when you get used to doing it like that, and the feedback loops, etc., coming back to do it again, you've got to find a way to do it where you're just enjoying it, and yeah, that you can do it sustainably around the rest of your work, the rest of your life, and I'm never ruling it out. And yeah, I still think about if I'd do it again, but I can't tell you if I definitely will, or if me and Mojo would make another video again or whatever. But no, I would never rule it out.
Yeah, I can see that it'd be pretty like I can imagine it's kind of hard to juggle like all the traveling you do and being in an arena for sometimes 8 more hours a day. Like there's some people just look at it maybe as like, oh, he's just talking to a microphone, but like there's a lot of different angles to like a job like that. Like the traveling alone must be just chaotic.
Yeah, it's a lot. It, it's not so much to do with like the demands of the event work and stuff, like with regards to doing content again. It's more so that the other stuff that I mentioned is in like just finding that same enjoyment and passion, but in a different way, you know, where you're 10 years older, 8 years older, whatever. And yeah, having the motivation to do that around the other stuff. Not because those other things at this point burn you out from the idea of making videos or whatever. It's just like, yeah, do you really want to make videos again? Like, and then how do you fit it in around the other stuff? That being said, yeah, the stuff that you mentioned, yeah, of course, events are uh, a lot of work, maybe not always apparent to everybody, and the input it takes from all the different parts of the machine, including yourself, and yeah, like there's a lot going on at them, and you have to put a lot into them. But no, the question about like making content again or whatever, it's not so they're not like what's the phrase, like mutually exclusive. It's more so to do with like the mental aspect of making videos again and that type of stuff. I
Yeah.
used to record, bro. I used to do mad. Can I swear on your
Yeah,
podcast?
yeah,
Or,
you free platform,
bro,
man.
I used to do mad shit. Like I used to, bro. Like so, like years like 2015, 16, 17. I used to like upload 5 to 7 videos a week. Maybe sometimes it'd be one less, like 4 or something.
That's still a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, so I used to upload like 5 to 7 videos a week. It would be like 2 to 3 CS videos, one other game, and then some sort of real life thing, whether it was like a vlog or like a skit, whatever. That was like my what I like to do and like how I like to structure it. Because CS is always my home, my main thing, but I like to do other things as well, and I'd upload content around that.
Sure, sure.
And so I'd be doing that like over a week, right? Making them as they're coming out pretty much, or maybe scheduling them a couple days from then. And then like I'd go to an event, right? I'd have to go to an event for like a week. So I'd have to prepare the content for that week, right? And so then you're making like 2 weeks of content kind of in advance. Uh and then at the event, sometimes I'd like vlog the event. So then I'm doing the event work whilst also doing like YouTube
Damn.
work. And then I'd come home and have like maybe like one day off and then just start the cycle again, just like going like non-stop. So yeah, if we are talking intersections or interactions between YouTube and like event stuff, yeah, back in the day, man, I was working myself to the bone, like non-stop. It was sick. It was bare fun for a long time. Yeah, at some point you can see why I got tired of just doing the YouTube videos. Other
Yeah.
reasons too, that we can speak about, or stuff that I've mentioned before and stuff online. But yeah, bro, I was doing a lot, man. It was like a crazy schedule that I was trying to keep up, that I kept up for a few
Oh
years.
yeah. No, for sure. And you know what was like we never really talked about this yet. Like what kind of pushed you to start making YouTube videos? Like did someone inspire you? Did Mojo? Did you see his videos and go, "Oh shit, I want to do something like that too?" Or was it just something that you just
Um,
decided to do?
no. I bet because I started making videos in like 2012. Um, so it was way before that. And the reason why I got round to doing it was this sort of relates back to what I was talking about before, where um 2006 is like when YouTube started growing. When it was even, was it 2005 it started, and it was 2006 when YouTube like blew up. Me and my friends were like 15, 16 or whatever. Um, and yeah, it was a big thing. Like now there's this platform for videos and you can watch them. Bro, holy fuck, this sounds so boomer.
Yeah, I remember when my
It's
parents were like, "You're not even allowed to go on YouTube," and I was like, "What? Really?"
But yeah, this is what it was like. It was like this big new thing. You can watch
It's
videos, like
huge.
like a platform. Obviously, you could see videos on the internet before then, but as in it was a platform specifically for that. And then they started like their partner program, and creators became like a thing, you know, where it's people, they brand themselves and they do a specific type of content. It's like this was all a big new thing like 20 years ago. Um, and me and my
Is
friends
that
thought it was
really
cool.
20 years ago almost? That's
Well, bro,
crazy.
if
It has to be.
YouTube.
Dude, I'm getting old.
I think it was 2005 when it. Yeah, it was founded at the start of 2005, but me and my
Wow.
friends, we didn't really pick up on it until like late that year. And then 2006 when it really blew up. Yeah, we were watching videos, thought it was super cool, and we were always making jokes, you know, like, yeah, we got to make YouTube videos. It'd be so sick, it'd be so fun. Because me and a lot of my friends at the time, and a lot of those guys still some of my close friends to this day, very similar people in some ways, and especially that at the time, like we wanted to make stuff and do funny shit and blah blah, but we never did it. We just always saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. We never did it. I made like this one video that I uploaded on Vimeo in like 2012 when I was at university of like me and my friend's holiday. I don't think I have it anymore. Otherwise, I'd send you it. Like if you wanted to cut it in or some shit. But yeah, just never got round to like doing the YouTube thing. 'Cause it's like intimidating. Same way I'm sure it is for new creators now. And then at the end of 2012, when I'd graduated from university, so at this point it had been like 6 years since me and my friends first watched YouTube, finished sixth form / college, gap year, university. Always talking about doing it, never doing it. I'd also picked up like the hobbies of going to the gym a bit and doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I'd finished university, so I was no longer studying. I couldn't get a job, and I injured myself at jiu-jitsu. So I like had nothing to do, bro. I'm like just at home, and it just randomly popped back into my head. This might be the last chance you get to try doing this. And you've always felt you could be good at it, and even if you're not, or if you don't like it, then you just stop. But it might be the last chance before you get, you know, like a full-time job, blah blah blah. And then just never have the time again. Do it now. So there's a voice in my head. And yeah, I started making videos on YouTube. The first stuff was like some weird pop culture, but I say weird now, but at the time, at least I was trying, bro. Because like
Hey,
I didn't know what I wanted to make. I knew eventually I wanted to make gaming stuff, right, along with skits, etc., and funny stuff. But at the start, like you've got no editing skills, you've got no camera skills, you've got no presenting skills, you got no skills. You're cooked on skills like out the gate. You have to build them up. So at the start, I'm like, what can I do? And like at the time, I was watching like all types of stuff on YouTube, and I was like, what kind of content can I emulate the most? And I was like, some videos I'd watch, it was just stuff on like pop culture, like movies that had come out, sports, just interesting things. And that's what I. That's what the first videos I made. It was some series called Some Interesting Stuff, where I just talked about that type of thing. Yeah, so yeah, that was the first thing I made, and that's what was my train of thought. So
you were
yeah,
making.
that's why I started making videos. I'd always wanted to do it, and then suddenly the opportunity popped up, and something in my head was like, might be the last chance you get to do it. Give it a shot. And yeah, the first thing I made was just like some generic pop culture, talking about, oh, this movie's come out. This is cool. That type of thing, because it was easy entry, and like, yeah, then started learning, trying to edit and work towards being able to make the stuff I could, and then eventually got a capture card so I could record like Call of Duty on my um Xbox at the time, because at that time it was still more, even in 2012 it was more rare that gaming content on YouTube was like from PC.
Oh
Even
yeah.
though I had a very long history of both types of gaming. My first gaming was PC, but then you know, when I couldn't afford, me and my family could afford a good PC, like it was easy to have a console as a kid, etc. And so I had a long period of playing console too, and like going between the two. Um, and so yeah, I started out making console stuff on YouTube, because yeah, it was more common. You get a capture card and blah blah blah. Yeah, those were like the first bits of content I made.
Yeah, and you know, like, you know, it's the same thing for me. Sometimes I look back at old videos, I'm just like, oh, like what was I thinking? Like I actually thought that was
But that's
good, but you
it's
have to
fine
learn.
though, bro. You have to, dude. Even like some of my videos that have been more popular, like I can look at them now and be like, bro, what was I doing? But it's been like, man, it's like you can't judge yourself or anyone like that. Like you got to understand the context, and like yeah, no, at the time it made sense, and
It's just a
regardless of
part of the
how you feel
development.
about it, yeah, regardless about how you feel it later on its own terms, it's like it's good stuff. And yeah, no, it's part of the process, exactly.
And in the end, you know, if it works for you, which it did work for you, I mean, you get the last laugh ultimately. So, you know.
Well, I don't know if some interesting stuff worked, but it got me. It
Well,
got me to
that
the.
you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I know, but it got me exactly. It was my entry to start trying to make videos, and exactly like yeah, it got me. It was a good idea to start like that, and then to eventually get to doing the other things that I did.
For sure. And when did you see like the growth kind of reach new levels of like holy shit, like, this could be like a
So
real thing?
yeah, so 2012 to the end of 2013 was 0 to 1,000 subs. um, and eventually I got a job, a bit into 2013. And then I got and it was like an unpaid internship. It was like dire
Oof.
economic times, brother.
Damn.
Like for the world and for me. And yeah, then I was doing that, and then they were gonna like sign me for an actual job, but then I got an offer to like go and shoot some videos for like Epsilon Call of Duty team with my good friend
Oh.
Dom that used to do the camera work on my videos. And I was like, bun this, bro. I'm gonna go and do this. I'm gonna try and do YouTube for a year to help it grow because I'd had just enough money to like maybe survive a year.
Hell yeah.
I'm still living with my mom and everything. Like, so then I did that. And then when I focused on it full time for 2014, I think it was like 1K to like 10K. And like, could see then by the end of that year, it was for the way the snowball works and the algorithm that it was going the right direction. But I'd run out of money. So then I had another job very briefly at the start of 2015. Um, and then that ended, and I was going full time again on YouTube. And then yeah, it was like 2015. I think I went 10 to like 100K. And it was like the first 6 months or something of 2015 where it went from like where it was making me like $50 a month or something to like where it was like a few hundred. Where it was like, man, for me, it was like, yo, this is insane. Like, if it keeps going in this direction, you can earn like a living off it and fully
Yeah.
focus on it full time. And yeah, and then 2016, I think it was like 100K to like, I don't know, like 300 or something. Or I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering that. And then yeah, by the time I stopped, I was just under 500K by the end of 2017. So that's like a rough timeline. And so it's sort of like you could see the growth, like very slow 2013, that first sort of year. Then 2014 picked up a bit, and then 2015 it went up a lot, and yeah, stayed that way. Um, until yeah, like I decided to stop. It dropped off a bit over 2017 when the algorithm changed and stuff. Um, but yeah, in terms of like when it peaked, in terms of growth, it was like 2015, 16, I think, maybe the start 2017. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
It's a long time looking back. It's funny to talk about these things, man.
Yeah, man. But like when you're seeing like, the snowball as you called it, like, the numbers are working, the
You're
algorithm's
gassed,
working.
mate. You're like so gassed. You're just like,
It's like pinch me, I'm
bro,
dreaming.
bro, it's working. Like this, the thing that you work so hard for, and like, bro, it's so hard for people that that maybe are watching that haven't tried it or whatever. Um, it's hard to even if you're an empathetic person or someone that's watching this video, it's hard to know exactly what it feels like. I'm sure you can understand. I'm sure people can understand to an extent, but yeah, bro, like when you see it start clicking, bro, it's like a drug, like fucking, like yeah, dude, like you see your this dream that you've worked for coming true, that you've worked tirelessly for like, there's a 2012, 2013, 2013, 2014, and then it was like mid 2015 where it was like, like $1,000 a month or something, which is like just passable if you're living at home, with your mum, in London. But then when it doesn't matter like the amount. But my point being is like, holy shit, like we fucking did it, man. Like it's insane. And then yeah, seeing videos pop off and like the economics and like the views aside, because that was never perhaps as is evident from what I've said. It's like I wanted to make videos and I wanted people to enjoy them. Like that was the purpose. And
Yeah.
yeah, that of course one of the other primary motivators that you can make that a job. Not as in like you want to be rich and famous, but as in like you can make being creative and something that other people enjoy earn you an income.
Hmm.
And yeah, bro, like when you seeing that happening, bro, like, it's hard to remember exactly how I felt, but yeah, dude, it's like the most insane thing. It's like, yeah, this dream that you've been working for what, 3 years non-stop, like the maddest stuff. Bro, there was a Call of Duty event in London once in 2013 when I was doing that unpaid internship, where I went on Saturday and Sunday, recorded like loads of interviews with people, and then I wanted to upload them as soon as the tournament had ended each day. So I was like up editing them, and back then I wasn't as good at editing. It took me a bit longer, like editing them until like fucking 5 in the morning. Went to the
Oh,
tournament the next day, and then did the same thing the night after the final. And went
oh
to
my
like I
God.
finished it. Well, I didn't sleep that night actually. Yeah, I just kept editing until like 6:30 or something. Cleaned up and went to work the next day. Like, bro, like and there's so many things like that. I can't list them all off. And like you've done all of this stuff. You worked super hard. You meet all these people and you're trying to make it work. And then yeah, you see it start working. It's like, yeah, you've made this dream that like a reality. It's hard to explain exactly how it feels, but yeah, it's like, yeah.
And even
And
like,
then and then and then at a similar time as well, then you get these doors open with presenting stuff because it happened at a very similar time. Like when YouTube just became enough to be full time. It's very similar sort of time to when I got first asked to do presenting in esports, which in CS, which was never in my plan. Like, I just love CS, and this obviously there's so much context. We can't speak about everything, but it's in like.
yeah,
By this point in 2015, CS was the main game I was playing on my YouTube channel. It had been for like a year and a half or something. I was still doing the other stuff, but like I was, as part of that CS content, I would sometimes go to CS events like I did with the Call of Duty events, interviewing people, making funny stuff. I was just doing that because I liked it, because I wanted to be at these events, because I was invested in enjoying the competitive scene as I had when I was a kid, blah, blah. And then it turned, I didn't have my eye set on being like a stage host or an interviewer or a desk host or a content person in a CS broadcast. But then, yeah, I got asked to do it and I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. And then that happened at the same time. And like all these things are happening. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy type shit. Like,
yeah. And I was gonna ask you that too, because like, how the hell did you go from doing YouTube and being like the face of broadcast talent for Counter-Strike's Tier 1 pro scene? Like that's a crazy jump. Like that's super cool.
um, so yeah, like I became one of the people involved in that because I think at the time, I was going to those events and doing that type of content as well as my other content, and it's roughly like this if you break it down. So one of the events I went to was Face It event in London. Got a press pass, did interviews there and stuff, blah blah. Went to the after party there, met people, of course. Then their next event um, was Face It DreamHack Valencia in 2015. And I really wanted to go, but I didn't have the money at the time to like fly me and Dom out, and put us in the hotel. So I reached out to Face It. I reached out to bro, I can't remember if it was Sturmy, who, or also know Alessandro is his real name. He's one of like the founders of Face It and whatever. I can't remember if it was him
Okay.
or Bardol, both of them. And I was like, guys, I'd love to come out to the event. Is there any chance you can um, do our flights, do me and Dom's flights and the hotel, and I'll just make loads of content around the event.
Yeah.
And shout out to them, to Face It, whoever helped decide it. Yeah, they were like, yeah, let's do it. And so came out there, made more of that type of content. And then whilst I was there at the after party, someone from DreamHack was like, "Oh, Mark from DreamHack would like to come and speak to you. He's in like over there." And then I went there, and it was just meeting each other. And then he was like, "Yeah, have you ever thought about doing like broadcast stuff?" And I was like, "No, I haven't, honestly." And then he was like, "Would you do it?" And yeah, it's like time stopped in my head where I was like,
That's a big
I mean,
ask.
yeah, I've never thought about doing that. I've never thought about being on a stage, or like have no experience doing that at that point, or being on a desk, or because I didn't know what role they were going to ask me to do. I ended up doing a bunch of different roles, which I still do to this day. But at the time, I had no concept of what I would end up, what end up doing or whatever. But I was like, man, I would be stupid to say no. So I was like, yeah, of course. And you have lots of conversations like this in YouTube content creator spaces or esports spaces.
It's
Vast
networking.
majority, yeah, networking. Like most of the time, it's like pretty not nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not. And yeah, so I said, yeah, I'll be down. And he was like, okay, yeah, well, if we can sort something out, we'll be in touch. And then he did for DreamHack London, and then they also asked me to do DreamHack Sweden. That was directly after. That was like the qualifier for the Cluj-Napoca Major. I can't remember if I did something in between or if that was my next event. But then yeah, I just did like a string of events, um, and kept being asked to do more from them and other companies in esports. So yeah,
Damn.
it's by chance through my YouTube stuff essentially, and based around like the content I was doing or whatever.
It sounds like you went about it the right way because, like, everything, fell into place. It seemed like you were in the right places at the right time and people knew you
Yeah,
from what you were doing. And, hey, now do you want to come and do this? We'll fly you over here. Like that's impressive as hell, man.
it's hard to say like how much is like luck, how much is from hard work or whatever. Um, but I think it's fair to say you can be sure like if you work hard, you increase perhaps slightly your chance to be lucky,
For sure.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, because I think about that, here and there. I look back, I'm like, yeah, I know I worked mad hard, but fuck, dude, I got lucky as well. Like, you have to get a bit lucky, whether it's an algorithm on YouTube, like which video is the one that's going to stick, and then get that snowball going. What thing, like being in the right room or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting the way the way it all went. I'm consider myself privileged that it went that way, and I'm grateful very much for how things turned out.
And most importantly, you're still here and you're still doing it today. Like it's
Yeah,
been a
man. I
long
mean,
lasting thing.
yeah, I mean, like low key, I still like making videos, like here and there, like I upload someone on Instagram, or like when I was at the Shanghai Major, like we got given like a cool little gift box, and I was like, man, this thing's cool as fuck. I want to
The
actually like put it
kilowatt
on
case.
Twitter. Yeah. I was like, I
Yeah.
actually want to put it on Twitter. Like, I'll record for like 5 minutes, and I just do it on CapCut on my phone. And sometimes like that still gives me a kick. I enjoyed the creative process of it. Um, but like, yeah, I'm not actively making videos, and like trying to like put that out there or on YouTube. In that same way. But
A
like
little
event work,
treat.
yeah. Sorry.
A little treat.
Yeah, just as in like I just if I feel like doing a little random thing on Twitter or Insta,
Yeah.
I'll do it just for me for fun. Um, but yeah, event stuff I've never, because the burnout from YouTube was because I was working so hard on YouTube. Like YouTube was its own thing. Event stuff, event work I've never got burnt out of or tired of, and yeah, still doing it, still enjoying it. Yeah, hopefully can do some sick events this year. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to events, you've been an interviewer at PGL Krakow Major 2017, IEM Rio 2022, PGL Copenhagen last year, Shanghai Major that just passed.
Uh,
Like there's been so many more that I haven't even mentioned. Like you've been traveling around the world, and you've been like surrounded by anything Counter-Strike for so long now. Like
yeah.
it's got to be a really cool feeling. um how does it feel to be so involved in, the pro scene? There's always so much going on there, and, the just
Damn,
seeing
bro, that's a tough question.
all of the games and all the new players, we've been seeing people from tier 2 coming to tier 1, and, things are changing all the time. Like,
A tough question, man, because it's like a big question. Because there's so much like that can sort of be brought in as an answer to that. 'Cause yes, I guess one of the base reasons why I say it's tough to answer is um, and I'm not like OG CS esports. That's reserved for other people. Um, people that came way before 2015. There's a huge history before then. Um, but that being said, I have at this point been around for quite some time.
yeah,
Like
almost a
coming up to
decade,
10,
right?
yeah, like 10 years, which is so bizarre to think about. Um, so much has happened. So it's like trying to answer like what it's like to be involved. It's like it depends on what perspective of time you're thinking about it from. Um, there's been crazy growth, in how things have gone since like 2014, 15. Um, that's been like such a pleasure to watch. Like how bro, there was a point in like 2014, even 20, like two different things you bring up, like 2014, 2015, where it's like, oh, coaches, no, teams don't need coaches. That's never going to be a thing. And like, that was the general consensus at the time, which very quickly changed,
Mhm.
over, I don't know, I couldn't give you, but roughly what, let's say, end of 2015, over 2016. And it's the complete normal now. Like a team without a coach now, you'd be like, what? Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on here? Another similar thing to that would be international teams. Bro, even by the end of 2015, it was like international teams were still like considered like, can this work? Are the logistics possible? The cultural fits, blah blah. Like these days, it's more the norm than you know. What's the word of the opposite of an international team? Like a what domestic team? Like a national team or whatever. Where
Yeah.
5 people from that's the more rare style of a team these days. Like those are just two small examples, and then of course like the structure of events and broadcast. All of these things have changed so much. What talent do and like the input from all the different parts of like the broadcast and event machines and productions, content, like things like this podcast. Like obviously podcasts have been around for ages, but like like 2015 and 16, even if you go up until again, when I'm saying dates for anybody who watches at home or to K Busy himself, like take them with a pinch of salt. But podcasts weren't mad popping off. Like generally, of course, there were some big podcasts and people listening to podcasts, but podcasts have really become a huge part of media over I don't know the last a bit before Corona, maybe, or
Yeah, I
like
think right around
roughly around.
when TikTok kind of started getting popular, because then the algorithm there, you put like a podcast TikTok out, and
Farming.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I think it was probably around that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And so like yeah, even the content side of things, so many things have changed over the long period of time that I'm sort of referring to, or that I've been involved in. And yeah, it's been a joy to watch things change and be a part of it, and to be involved in it still now is crazy. Yeah, like again, it's hard to give a general response to a broad question like that with regards to like the more recent times as opposed to like the longer period. But like if I were to use like a micro example like the Shanghai Major, bro, like what, like how did we end up here? To me this is still crazy. That was my first time going to China. um First time I think well, I've worked for Chinese companies by proxy maybe before. No, but as in like first time being employed by a Chinese company.
Mhm.
um
And going to
first a-
China.
yeah, going to China, first Asian major. um like going into like my 10th sort of year doing this stuff, and like lots of new players there that I don't know so well, but then lots of guys that I've known for like so long. um and also making new friendships there with maybe people that I've known of but not been so close with. um and yeah, working out there with first time working with a production where I had shout out to my boy Marshall. He was I don't know if anyone saw, but the bits that I did where I was with someone else. He's like a host from Dota 2 primarily, that also does other things in esports. It was his first CS event. He was sort of like the guy I was duoed with for he's not just like a translator, he's a host within his own right. But as in, if I was saying stuff in English, he would also translate those bits to
Okay,
the
yeah, yeah.
crowd or to Chinese broadcast, etc. Um, yeah, it's my first time working with like another host that's doing translation stuff, um, and in a production where he's helping the feedback system. Um, Also met Dove there. Shout out to Dove. She was one of the other Chinese talents there that was also helping with these things. And this is all new experiences after 10 years. Like how? Like making new friends and how the production worked and going to a new country, etc., etc. Perhaps you get my point there. It's like it's still crazy to be involved. It's one of the reasons why the job is so rewarding. Look, first at a base level, like I love doing the job, whether I'm desk hosting, stage hosting, or interviewing, or a presenter in a content piece on a broadcast. I love doing all those things, or whatever other little thing you want to put me in. I love doing those things, but beyond that, yeah, like, and I think it pertains more to your question, like the experience of it all. And don't get me wrong, it's not always like that. Sometimes it's more run of the mill. You're just even if you're doing like trying to do your best job, you're just kind of going through the steps, and the event is more like standard or whatever.
Mhm.
But even standard events, like, it's still like it's a buzz to be involved. But as in, I'm specifically using the Shanghai example because that's not just like a one-off. It's still multiple times, you know. Or like if Bullen, sorry, it's like I don't know if you can hear that. It's like yawning in the background, little boy. Yeah, even after being 10 years in the mix, it's like you can still have like brand new experiences and like not just like surface level cosmetic like superficial experiences, like brand new like sick experiences, you know. Um whether it's to do with the work or the things that are happening around the work and making new friends and seeing new cultures, like that's absurd, like, and
Yeah.
it's in the best way possible, like yeah, perhaps that I know that I've bro is waffling, right, but as in like, maybe there's some of that made sense. Yeah, it's still crazy to be involved, and after such an amount of time to still be able to have new experiences from it all, and some of them defining experiences that are important to you and your brain, your soul, whatever, you know, bro. Like this is crazy, bro. Like this year Christmas, not Christmas, sorry, New Year's. So me, my brother, um, one of my best friends, it's also one of my brother's closest friends, my girlfriend, my brother's girlfriend, my mum, and fucking Alex Machine and his girlfriend, because they were in London at the time, so they came for our New Year's thing. Like, bro, like this is like the levels of like how much of an impact, whether it's like this work or content creation, whatever, can have on your life, that you end up making a friend that's at your fucking close, like in your family type shit. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I could go on and on, but as in those are some examples from the end of last year where I'm specifically talking about an event and how it can still give you so many you can still experience new things and have a blast, like an absolute blast. And that also over the longer period of time, like it yeah, has an effect on you as a person, and can help making friends that like family type thing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very vague response, but there's something in there, I think. So
No, no, I get what you're meaning. And you know, like the thing that for me personally that always just blows my mind is like at the end of the game, not trying to downplay it at all, but it's just a video game. But it brings so much to the table. Going like it's been around for 25 years, so we'll start there. You know, going around the world, selling out arenas everywhere, every fucking where. And you know the talent, whether it be the broadcast talent, whether it be the players that just keep the fans tied into the game, like every single gear is spinning and has been spinning for like ever, really.
yeah, I mean, I think it speaks on that type of thing that you're talking about, K. Busy. It reflects, of course, the growth of gaming, and then, of course, the sub category of it, which is esports. And yeah, like I can only primarily speak about. I've been involved in many other things, and I still am. Shout out to other projects I've done. Shout out to GeoGuessr, for example, most recently. Um, but yeah, I primarily can only speak about CS, and yeah, it's crazy like how far it's come since its beginning, and like the effect it's had on so many people's lives. And it can be whether you're involved in the scene directly or you're someone that just watches and loves it. All of these things, it's like it is crazy. I don't see it as in like, oh, it's just a video game. I see it more so in terms of it's crazy how a video game, because yeah, in a sense, what you're saying is like at the end of this, it's a video game, but it's in like how it's scaled and like what the video game is now and what the esport is, etc. It's like it's crazy to think that a video game can do that in an
E-
ultra positive way. And
exactly.
it's not too dissimilar to, like, I don't know when football. I'm referring to soccer, by the way, but football because it's called football. Um, some people back in the day, I don't know if it was what, when did people first kick in balls? Probably a couple thousand years ago or more. Like at some point that became like a sport, you know. And but at the end of the day, like football is just people kicking around a ball. But
Yeah, yeah.
look at it as an industry and what it means to people. Um,
You can say that about any
it,
sport, really.
exactly, and so it's. I see that in the same way with CS, where it's like, yeah, it's just a game, but look at how far the game reaches and what it's done and what it will continue to do and how it will grow. It's incredible, really.
Yeah. And like there's really no other way to describe it. Just incredible is, I don't think there's a word to properly describe how amazing this thing really
Yeah.
is, It's just super.
It's kind of bizarre and weird in a way, right? Like it's odd to sort of like yeah, I understand like or just see how big things are. Like, bro, so again, going back to my most recent CS event, which was Shanghai Major, bro, there were fans outside, like, essentially all the time. Not every single day for the full. How long were we there for? We were there for like 38 days or something. Um, not every single day, but the vast majority of the days, there's like a rail of fans. And again, this is another waffle example, but hopefully you guys and KB can pick out the bits and string it together in your heads yourself. But like this is a big change as well, actually, because from like obviously Asian teams, players, and fans have been in CS since the beginning with
For
1.6
sure.
or
For
whatever.
sure.
But as in like in the West, the rhetoric has often been as in like, oh, like the game's not that big there, blah blah blah. Um, when in reality, that's just not the case. The game's huge there, but it's a smaller percent of like the overall gaming space compared to the West. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's still a hell of a lot of people playing and passionate fans. But there's loads of others that are watching and playing other things too. And so the rhetoric or the understanding that CS isn't big in Asia or whatever, or it's just not true. Bro, we
No.
had like fans outside every day, like, and they'll see one of their favorite players and go ballistic. You know, it's a huge thing for them. And yeah, I think that's a good example that shows you know just how sort of worldwide, how big and like yeah, like just how crazy and huge things have come. It's truly like a worldwide thing. It's a cultural thing, and and the game has given so much to so many people, no matter what part of it you're involved in.
Yeah, and you look at the viewership records too. I feel like every time there's like a major event or, like IEM Dallas or a major or something like that, I feel like I'm always seeing on Twitter whenever they happen that there's a new viewership record that broke. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't always check viewership numbers, but I think viewership numbers have been super healthy. Um, it's great to see so many different events from different TOs popping off. Shout out to IM Dallas. I got to do one once in 2022 where I was doing the in arena stuff for ESL. The Dallas crowd, absolutely sick. Very cool event. Um, but yeah, it's like it's funny because there's always debates in esports about which esports is the biggest or
yeah,
this esport going up, which one's going down. Bro, CS is in a sick place.
yeah,
The
yeah.
viewership's there, and it's not going anywhere, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. So there's been a couple years where you had a bit of a hiatus, and it didn't look like you were working too much. I was looking on the Wikipedia, and I was looking at the events you've been working at and whatnot. But you told me that earlier you were saying a lot of good things about what you do as a talent and stuff. Like we are not seeing you go anywhere, right? Like you're here to stay at the broadcast talent for a while.
So firstly, Liquidpedia's shout out to Liquidpedia, by the way, but it's not always accurate. Sometimes it doesn't list all of your events.
Okay.
I would imagine the hiatus period you mentioned is just a period where I wasn't hired for some events, and it was probably around the Corona period. Because yeah, I didn't get to do much during that period. So, and it wasn't a hiatus. I just didn't get hired
Okay. I didn't know
around
if you
that
were
time.
distancing yourself or okay.
No. Because then yeah, 2022, like, and then end of 2021, sort of like when Corona ended or lifted, was super busy again. Did a bit less on 2023. Last year did a bit more again. As freelance talent, like you're not always in control of how much work you do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always reaching out and looking to do events. So no, if there's like a period like that, it's not because I'm like distancing myself or whatever. It's just because yeah, I didn't get the events at that point.
Okay. Because it would look weird without you at this point, I think. Like you've cemented yourself pretty good. So like to not
Thanks,
see you
brother.
for, a long period of time would be like, okay, what
Hmm.
the hell? They're slacking. They need to
Yeah,
get them
I
over
mean,
here.
I'm pretty certain that would have to be the Corona period, where it's like primarily online, etc. And I just didn't get a look in on those ones. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
And for people listening that might want to follow a similar path, that you've created for yourself, like what advice could
yeah.
you give someone? Do you have
I
to
need to
practice in the shower? Like, practice like you're talking into a camera? Like what's the secret?
I feel like I need to clarify to everyone quickly at home as well. We just took a brief pause whilst K Busy tried to secure his ticket for the major, and the reason why I'm picking my teeth is
Yes.
because I ate assaulted black licorice, and now I'm extremely self conscious that I've got
You eat that
black
stuff
licorice on my
too?
teeth. Yes, bro.
Oh,
I
dude.
ate it when I was in the UK, bro. This stuff's great.
Oh man.
Um, man, for people that want to do the same thing, bro, it's tough, man. I mean, we spoke about like how I got in, which is sort of like a unique trajectory, and that's definitely one way to do it. Um, that being said, yeah, it's a pretty unique trajectory how I got in. There are other people in CS Esports that make content and stuff. Um, but I think it's still quite rare to go from go parallel as being a full-time content creator with event stuff. It's definitely one way to do it.
Not
But
very
again, keep
common, I don't think.
I don't think it's common like at all. It's one way to do it, but it's not like a surefire way or whatever. This is always such a hard question to answer for any talent because sort of like the only experience we have for this, like foot in the door stuff, is our own. Um, and that doesn't mean that you can't do or try the same things. Um, but there's not like some surefire way, you know? It's not exactly the same thing as get a degree in X field for X job for Y job, and then it massively increases your chances, and then you have to just perform an interview, and then you get into
Yeah. There's not really
field.
like a formula, like, a rule
No,
book on
and
it or something.
yeah, and that's not me trying to discourage anybody from trying, but yeah, you if you want to do it, like you've kind of got to find your own way to try to get in, and you can look at the way other people have done it. Um, but there are so many like unique odd ones, right? Like Dinko, one of my good friends, bro. He was like casting random games online. I think. Don't quote me on that. Ask him for the facts. But then he entered a Face It casting competition in 2017 with Hawker, or maybe Hawker was another contestant in it, and then they won it together, and then they got to go to cast one of the group stage like arena games at Face It London in 2017. I can't remember if it's 2017 2018, one of those years. Um, and then yeah, then they kept working, and then you keep going in the but again, that's like a you can't tell people, yeah, go and win a random competition online and then it's going to work out. A legend like Henry G, he was a player in old Counter-Strike Source, and he went way away from the scene, had like normal job and stuff, and then got asked. Then it's so big. Wait, and again, don't quote me on this. Check with Henry if you want the facts. But the company he ended up working for was like an event planning company, and then they got asked to set up the event space for some CS events, and through that sort of relationship, I think he was asked to cast. Like, Henry, would you be down to cast? You obviously played the game pro. You'd be good at it, and that's how he. Again, double check that with it, but it's something like that, like. And then there's someone like Machine. Machine was like a kid at uni, and he played COD 4. And started casting it at the LANs in the UK, and then he got spotted by ESL or something like that, and then he started. I know I can't directly answer the question, but there's lots of different ways. It's very vague, but yeah, make some content or try to speak to people. Obviously, you can't. Obviously, you need some level of background or practice. You need to, if you're approaching people or whatever. But yeah, it's funny because obviously you're not the first person to ask me or other people this on an interview. I know it's boring or a frustrating response, but it's hard to give direct suggestions because it is like a vague thing. And a lot of us got into it in quite unique ways. Like some people were formerly journalists, and then, reaching out to people I'd like to try broadcast stuff. Like, there's lots of different ways to do it. There's no set way, there's no guarantee. But if you want to do it, definitely go after it, and try to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, like, with absolutely anything you do is you just have to, put yourself out there, and you have to step outside your comfort zone and
Yeah.
try new things, as awkward as it might be for you. Like, if you feel not too comfortable doing it, sometimes you just got to break that wall down, and you just got to fucking just do it. That's as simple as that.
Sometimes you've got to make some interesting stuff, you got to make your first YouTube series, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It all starts somewhere, and you've got to put yourself out there in some way. I think that's a good. It's obviously very general, but yeah, sometimes you have to. Yeah, you have to put yourself out there somehow. You've got to do something, like that for sure.
And maybe it helps because I'm an overthinker, but I'm always like thinking of ideas. I'll be at work and I'll just be like, oh shit, I should try that. Oh, I should try that. So, always having a bunch of stuff, and like, I got my whiteboard here. I write down all the
Nice,
stuff that I
nice.
can't keep up in my head. I just put it
Yeah,
right down there, and then
yeah.
I refer to that all the time. And I think it's important to just have a bunch of ideas on the go, and then you can just pick from your list. Like, okay, we're gonna go with that one and apply it to this now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, doing that sort of thing is critical to an extent, whether you write it down or not. But just like having the ideas, and primarily like trying to do the ideas. Because if we go back to when I was talking about how I started, you don't want to do what I did, where me and my friends start watching YouTube in 2006, and then the first time you make a fucking YouTube video is in 2012. That's nonsense. Like, if you have your ideas, you gotta do them. You gotta try and do something. Don't wait around like I did until you fuck your back up and you're unemployed and you're not at school. Like, there's no time like now, and if you've got ideas, you have to do them. Like, whether it's trying to be a content creator, whether it's trying to get into a broadcast, whether it's some job you want, whether it's some crush you have, like whatever. If there's something that you want, you've got to try to do something to make it happen.
And especially with content creating in today's day and age, like, it
Mm.
is so competitive. Everybody's
Yeah,
trying to do, oh, that guy did this video and it's working. I'm going to try it and throw a twist on
yeah,
it. And, if it is very possible that if you don't put your idea out there, like, really quick, good chance someone else is going to do it too.
yeah. Someone else might do it first, and they might do it as a short that took about 10 minutes to make, and then
Yep.
they'll get like 6 million views, and you'll be like, "Fuck."
And that could have been you. It's always
Yeah,
always got to be, productive and, just hustle, hustle, hustle. If you really want something,
yeah.
you can't lean back.
The one thing that I would like to mention is like a slight it's not even a caveat, but as in I think a good bit of context or whatever, or thing to think about is like, whatever it is that you want to do, but especially if it's this type of stuff, whether it's like content creation, being on camera, a broadcast, like these type of public facing things, don't do it because it's public facing,
No,
or don't do it because you want to be like famous, or like
I want to be
potentially
rich.
get super rich off it, or something. That's some people do. You hear these stories about like super famous people that just did it for, or like whatever, people generally that just did it for like fame and money. But like that's like such a negative motivator. Like
Yes.
do it because you have some passion or that you think you're going to enjoy it, or you can do it and you enjoy, and other people don't. Yeah, there's the primary mover has to be the activity itself. You know, not like some obscure materialistic destination. Like that's yeah. And again, that's not me saying don't try and think about these things as if they can be a job. Obviously, that's fine. Like you want to be able to support yourself, but that's a very clear distinction from don't do these things because you want to be famous and whatever. Like that's whack. Like
Yeah. And I
yeah.
feel like you'll just
So
put yourself in a bad
yeah.
headspace.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, obviously, that's a huge part of like influencer culture these days. Like a lot of kids see this stuff and they just want to be like, I want to be famous. I want people
Oh
to see
yeah.
me. But it's like, and yeah, me personally, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. But yeah. So in that sense, yeah, to circle back on my main point, if you're interested in doing broadcast work or whatever, um, or being in CS or being a content creator, do it because you think it's going to be fun and you can help give value to it or whatever, and help
Yeah.
other people enjoy it too or whatever. Don't do it just because you want to be like famous or whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
a dead end.
And you know, I feel like when you put uh I don't know how I'm trying to say it. Like, if you attach yourself to something that you like, let's say you like, oh, I want to be like Pala. I want to be a broadcaster so I could be super rich and super famous and all this stuff. If you attach yourself to that, and that's the only thing that's making you chase after it, if you're not getting that, you're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna be put in the worst mental, headspace. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna
Yeah.
do all types of, I don't know. I just think it's so bad to attach yourself to a dollar value and be like, I'm gonna do this because I want this. You should always do anything you want because you like to do it. And I've talked about
Absolutely.
it with
Yeah.
people on the podcast before. If you're not
Yeah.
passionate about something, don't do it. Do
Yeah.
what you're passionate about.
Yeah. No. I agree. I mean that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing YouTube when I did, because I wasn't as passionate about it. Um, and that's one of the ironic things too, at least with content creation, is like you can start it, and then when it becomes the job, and then you're still enjoying it and you're passionate about it, but more than ever, then you are very much chasing numbers, not because of like fame, but as in because that's the metric which you base your channel's growth or success off. Um, like that's like a tough thing to get away from for any content creator. It's very, very um I won't name any specific name, but of course, from my time in esports and especially YouTube content creation stuff, I know some pretty big content creators, people that got way, way bigger than people like myself, or yeah, like people like from the crew back in the day, like really big, general big YouTuber people, and like living the absolute life, like huge, all the views, like hundreds of millions of views every month, and like and also sick, lovely people, by the way, and that are still passionate about what they do. But it's almost impossible, even at that point, where you're like some multi-millionaire killing it, um, to get away from like just a dip in your metrics. Um, yeah, I know some people that were like, oh yeah, I had a bad month, and then you take a look at their numbers, and it's like it's gone from like multiple hundreds of millions of views to like 25% less of that, and you're like, damn, like even if you get to the very top of content creation or whatever, those people that do that, like they still struggle with these same things that other content creators do. And that will only, going back to sort of what we're talking about, that will only get compounded and be completely unsustainable, in my opinion, if you're purely chasing after fame and
Yes.
money and riches, in my opinion.
Yeah, and especially when you like, let's say you make a certain amount of money with a certain amount of views, if you stop reaching that amount of views that maybe you're getting every month,
Yeah.
you're gonna see the dollars go down, and then you're gonna start going, holy shit, you're gonna get hungry, and I need to do something to get that back, and then you're gonna maybe not be yourself, and that's the whole reason why people are watching you in the first place before you even started making money. So it's like, it's just not really, it's kind of a recipe for disaster if you're just chasing something to get
Yeah.
something specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, if there are people out there planning to do content creation, I don't want to stress this too much, but of course, at some point, you do need to sort of take the views and stuff seriously. It's just a byproduct of making it a job. Um, but as in, like, yeah, you do have to try to be conscientious about that and try to distance yourself from it a
Yeah.
bit, you know? Um, because yeah, otherwise it will just and this is like a common content creator thing, bro. You can like I said, I was referencing very vaguely, that there's huge content creators out there or people in lines of work where they're still achieving huge success, but like they can't see it and feel it, and that's no shame on them. I'm just using it as an example in terms of it comes a bit with the territory, and it's not all like what's the phrase, bells and whistles or roses or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
When you can manage to make these things a career, there's still other stresses and things you have to consider and be prepared for when it all pops off. Fucking sick though when it does pop off.
Oh yeah, I bet. Oh my
That being
god.
said,
Well, dude, that's pretty much everything I had for you.
yeah.
I can't say thank you enough. Now I've been lucky enough to actually speak to Mojo, and now I have a
Have
podcast
you
set
have you
with
had
you.
him on the podcast?
I haven't. I talked to him
Okay.
last year about it, but I know he's kind of not really doing too much on the internet side of things. It
Yeah, he
seems
he
like he
has
has a lot
like
of business stuff.
yeah, he has like business stuff. Yeah, I can drop him a text. Tell him that I did one with you.
Yeah, if you want, but I'm just, the whole point of me saying that is because now the two people that I remember when I first got into CS, two people that really stand out that I started watching, I've now had I've been lucky enough to talk to both of you and do a podcast with you, so I can't thank you guys enough. Well, thank you
It's all
enough.
good.
Mojo's not here, but
You went to Launders Land, right?
yes, I did.
Have you had Launders on?
I have.
Okay, you have. Okay, sick.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that one out. That's
yeah.
good.
No, he's a.
Yeah,
I
if there's
don't
if
even.
there's anyone that you're curious about speaking that I might know, obviously I can't guarantee anything, but I can drop a little text, say, check out K Busy. Maybe you can have a chat.
I appreciate that, but I
That's all
can't
good.
even get started on Wanders. That guy's just what a good dude, amazing person.
He is fucking awesome guy, bro. I've known him for a long time. He's a really good guy with a good heart.
Yes,
That's a guy that's done content creation very well.
yes, absolutely.
And I've been saying that since like way before he massively popped off with the brand and like. 'Cause I think, sorry, yeah, because I don't know if you need to. I need to go shortly in a
No,
bit as
you're
well.
good.
But
You're good.
just as a good like example, and I think a lot of people maybe. I mean, I would assume that a lot of people that have become newer Gen CS fans, over the last, let's say, since post Corona or maybe during Corona, maybe even a bit before then. Bro, Launders has been going hard for years, bro,
Yeah,
with
man.
Boxer, and his casting and being part of the scene. Um, and he just kept at it, and kept doing his thing his own way. And it could even be before then. Again, numbers, dates, don't quote me, but as in, we knew of each other in like 2014, I want to say. He was at least going then with all of that stuff, I think. Um, and it's really over, yeah, the last few years or so, where it all really paid off and popped off for him. Um, Obviously always been a sick caster, but him and Scrawny, that's another one of my boys. Shout out to Scrawny. But the casting thing aside, I mean, how he's done content with his YouTube, with his brand, and just steady stuck to his values, how he wants to do it, bro. And again, and this isn't some new. I'd known him for a long, and he will tell you. I hope you would, Mohan, if you see this. That I've said that to him from 10 years back. Is in like, bro, the way you do it's sick, man. Like, mad respect here. It's a good example for people if they want to follow like a healthy way to do content, and but also being optimal and building what you doing? Look at these days. He's got lands going on, whatever. He's in one of the primary top tier caster duos in the world. Like,
Yeah,
sick guy.
sick guy for sure, man. Before we sign out, I kind of like to just, pass the mic over to the guests and let the guests take the floor if there's anything that maybe we haven't covered, or if there's shout outs or anything you want to talk about before we head out. The floor is yours.
Not particularly, man. I hope you guys have all enjoyed the chat. It's been a pleasure for me to chat to K Bizzy. Bro was definitely waffling at points. I hope you guys
Hey,
were
that's the
able to
whole point. That's the whole
pick some
point.
gems or some, like, out the bag. If I was waffling more, no, because usually when I have these types of conversations or whatever, they are like this. This is how I am in real life as well. Like, I can just verbally just it comes out, But if it was more than normal, it could be because of CTE. I was sparring MMA this morning. No, I'm kidding. Not actual CTE, but yeah, I had sparring this morning, and so my head is a bit frazzled. Nonetheless, a lot of fun. Great chat and conversation. K Bizzy, thanks for having me on. Anyone out there, like, supporting CS or me or K Bizzy, whatever in gaming, shout out to you lot. If you have any, like, what we were talking about before, if you have an interest in doing this type of stuff, just go for it. If you have this dream, try it. If it doesn't work out, find another dream and try that.
Yep.
If there's something you want to do it. Do it with love, and yeah, wish you all the best.
All right, guys, there you have it. Very, very fun and enjoyable podcast to record today with my boy Pala. Hoping that we get to see him at the Austin Major. And I don't know if any of you guys are going to the Austin Major too, but I did cop my tickets on the day of the pre-sale. So if you guys are going, look out for me and come say hi. And, I hope to see some of you guys there. It's always fun meeting people from, the Twitter community and, the CS community, just meeting them in public and stuff like that. Launders Lane 2 was really cool for that. Got to meet a couple cool people there. So, yeah, much love again to Paula for showing the love to the podcast and wanting to do this. And, we had some good laughs and stuff like that. And he's just, oh man, he's just a funny fucking dude. Fun dude to talk to. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Show some love to the podcast. Show some love to the guests, of course. And we also do have a merch shop out. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this, but the link is in the description. We have the Etsy store available. We got some posters, we got some shirts, we got some hats on there. Keep yourself warm, keep your room looking good with the posters, keep your torso looking good with the t-shirt. We got it all, and we're working on getting some more stuff to put out there. So be on the lookout for that. All of our links will be in the description. All of the guest links will be in the description. Make sure you show some love to social medias, and we'll catch you guys next Friday. Till next time, everybody, much love.